Picture this, being sent to the front lines at war whilst others sit back and enjoy their lives, laughing at you and your comrades struggle in ultimate demise. And what's the only difference between you and them? Race. Simply because you were born different, you're now used and disposed of as a soldier, seen as a burden to society and therefore separated from the people and sent to your death. Although this may seem like something the average person wouldn't even think of experiencing, for the case of the 86, this is just their reality. The Republic of Magnolia is split up into 86 regions, which the first through the 85th region are being reserved for luxurious buildings and streets for the silver-haired Alba race to live in. The 86th region, however, is where those that are not the Alba race reside. These people, named the 86, are sent off to war to fight off the Legion, which are essentially just mass-produced AI robot mechs. These people are manipulated and used without remorse, just for the rest of society to be able to sit back and stay ignorant to the outside world. However, a single general from the Alba named Milice Vladilina was sent to the battlefield at a young age and experienced firsthand the reality and horror of war. Not only did she lose her father, but she saw the life that the 86 are subjected to live due to the negligence of the Alba. She was saved by a stranger who, just like any other 86, was mistreated and discarded by society, yet decided to void any hatred he had towards the Alba and save the young Lena. This ultimately leads Lena to climb the ranks and becoming the handler of Combat Unit 1 to fulfill a dream of destroying this war between the Alba and the 86. And if I stop my explanation here, it really wouldn't do justice for the anime because it is much more than that. It's beyond a masterpiece. 86 is an anime that is willing to show off how well planned out it can be, with direction like no other. It tells a story non-linearly. For example, we are first shown Lena's experiences up until a certain event, like her getting a call from a member of the combat unit asking for a favor. Then we're presented with the 86's experience up to that certain event, at which point then the story just progresses with both POVs merged into one. And not only that, but the music, the transitions, the cliffhangers, everything about 86 is perfect, to the point that you feel so immersed that you feel the fragility of a human on the battlefield, and you feel the very same emotions that the characters feel. Every character has a unique goal or dream, some formed by hope for the future, and others formed as a manifestation of their hatred for someone, and you feel like in some way you can link with the characters, and you can easily understand and sympathize with them. And you know, it's nice having a female protagonist that isn't used solely for fan service once in a while. At this point, I'm going to start talking about parts of the anime that will spoil the plotline, so if you still haven't watched 86 yet, then click off now and do that first, and then maybe sometime after you can finish watching this video. I highly insist that you only keep watching if you have only seen the anime already, because it is something that everyone needs to experience firsthand. Despite how the 86 are treated, they're human just like anyone else, and yet just because of them being different, they're mistreated. But like any other humans, they also have friends that they hang out with and have fun with. They too have hobbies and dreams, and yet at such a young age, these people are sent out to fight and throw their lives away. And the purpose of them being soldiers isn't even for them to protect the country, it's for them to simply be purged. And yet a single member of the 86 has survived, carrying the burden of the deaths of over 500 other 86 that he's been in charge of. This man is referred to as the Undertaker, or his other alias, the Reaper. He's known as this because of his tendency to shoot and end the lives of his fallen comrades before their body is stolen by the Legion and their brain used to develop more powerful Legion mechs. He takes a piece of scrap from each person's mech, carving their name into it as a sign of paying respect to his late friend, since no one else in the entire world deemed them human enough to honor their deaths with something as simple as a gravestone. So when this man is first contacted by Lena to find out that they have a new handler, he thinks she'll be the same as any other white pig that has commanded them in the past. Unbeknownst to them, Lena has a foolish dream and has a drop of remorse for every death. Yet when the 86 lose member after member, they don't believe her when she apologizes for their loss. This is the power of stereotypes and how difficult it is for someone to try and reach the same level as those who have been oppressed. After all, if a rich man sat down next to a homeless man and started asking for change alongside him, people would just think he's making fun of the homeless man. Despite the 86 not accepting her at first, Lena is determined to, as she says, catch up to them. Over the course of the anime, I genuinely cried several times, and that's going from someone who very rarely cries at anime. The first time was when the 86 went off to their final mission and left Lena behind, after all the work she's put in to finally build a bond between her and them, despite all the generational history of oppression. This scene had a perfect balance between music and visuals, with the impact of it just being too much for me to handle. This scene actually just left me more than speechless, and I can't even begin to explain how I felt. After this goodbye, the 86 venture past the known territory of the Republic and explore the unknown, something they could never do, just go forward and enjoy what they saw and experienced. This is precisely where the anime has a little change of pace and direction. Some people say it became boring, but it was far from that in my eyes. It's a more laid-back part of the story, as the 86 are finally able to experience freedom, something that was taken away from them before they can remember. Eventually, the 86 find themselves in a different republic by some sort of miracle. One thing leads to another, and eventually those remaining 86 try to integrate themselves into the society, living a normal life. Some get jobs like a chef or a model, whilst others pursue their hobbies of drawing or learning. And yet something is missing from their lives. These children who grew up on the battlefield were almost like monsters that were bred for war. They've lived their whole life fighting, so how would they be capable of leading a normal life? And they weren't. they went back to the battlefield. However, this time it was going to be much more dire, with the Legion was planning a mass attack on all of the republics. And the next thing you know is that the Republic of Magnolia has fallen due to their flawed system of the 86 not being able to withstand the forces of the Legion. And everyone was in a position where they were struggling for their own survival. In the end, by a lucky turn of events, the Undertaker is able to destroy the Legion final boss, and right after he finally ran out of things to chase in his life, he saw the person who was the first to trust in him, Lena. In the end, Lena finally managed to catch up to the 86. The wholesome ending of them finally being able to meet in person after all this conflict and war brought nothing but tears to my eyes. Like, come on man, it's only January and my allergies are already acted up, like, bro. On a real note, other than making the last frame my wallpaper, this anime is beyond a masterpiece. It's easy to link to and understand the characters. You feel immersed, experiencing being as fragile as those in the battlefield, as if your very own life is in danger. Honestly, I can't even bring this anime to glory with this video because my lousy efforts to glaze don't even compare to how great the anime is. When I finished watching it, I just sat there for 20 minutes speechless, thinking, how will something ever be as great as this? So now I'm stuck in an eternal sadness until I can experience an anime as great as 86. I think this anime is one that everyone needs to watch, and is the perfect example of how stories should be presented and told. 86 also carries a meaningful message about the dangers of discrimination and oppression, because even after the war has ended, and the Magnolian society now accepts all people, many of the Alba are still against it. Similar to how when segregation was first abolished years ago, in places such as America and Britain, widespread racism was still rampant for many years after. Yet, with effort and determination, one day, a world where all people are equal can be achieved. I am so glad I gave 86 a chance, and I really hope that everyone else also does. I really wanted to cover 86 after being recommended it as part of my 23 anime recommendations video, because it just really stuck with me, and it definitely still has a special place in my heart. Anyways, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.